Well, I don't need to tell you that petrol prices have been going through the roof and they've been hitting family budgets very hard. And that's one of the worst kept secrets of the budget. Josh FRYDENBERG, in a couple of hours from now, when he gets up and delivers the budget speech, we know there'll be a temporary 6-month cut to fuel excise. It's going to save people between 10 and 20 cents a litre, which could save the average motorist around $10 a tank. Peter Khoury is the NRMA's spokesman and he joins me from Sydney. Thanks for joining me, Peter. The thing is, we've seen petrol prices go up. They go up by 20 cents a litre, 40 cents a litre, 60 cents a litre so quickly. If there's, say, a 10 or 15% cent a litre cut from the government, there'll be an immediate impact, right? But what are the chances that could then be obliterated a week or 2 weeks later as global oil prices go up again?
Yeah, very good question. And that's exactly what we've seen happen overseas. So last week, the UK government cut excise and prices went up the next day, so that kind of didn't work. And we know the New Zealand government cut its excise and same thing. And so we were immediately concerned. Look, absolutely, we accept that there has to be cost of living pressure relief in this budget. We know how hard it is for families, particularly because of these record high prices. But there are two issues that are at play. One is just how volatile oil prices have been in 2022. And in the last couple of weeks, they've dropped, and they've dropped quite considerably. I mean, gas oil, which is the benchmark for diesel, it dropped upwards of $40 a barrel. So if that gets passed on, then that is going to well and truly surpass any excise cut. And the other concern we have, of course, is a local one, and that is that, we don't pay the tax directly. It's paid through service stations at the Bowser. And we are genuinely concerned that whatever cut may get announced tonight will invariably get eaten up in the profit margins of the oil companies. They have been consistently at the highest on record since the pandemic began. So they know their way around a profit margin. And, our concern is we're going to have to monitor those margins very carefully now to make sure that whatever the government cuts in Canberra doesn't get eaten up by a local servo.
Yeah, and as you say, look, there should be an immediate relief. I suppose the government's thinking they want relief to last at least till the election. It's only got to last 6 or 7 weeks. We don't really know where fuel prices will go medium term, but you would expect that they'd head down eventually. But you'll keep an eye on fuel prices. Presumably the ACCC will do the same to make sure that every cent of excise cut is passed on to motorists?
Absolutely. Look, we're not going to know the specifics until tonight, but when we do, we'll have a broad sense, a clear sense then of what the cut will be and what that will mean to the average price. We also have a clear sense of what the average margin is, the gap between the wholesale and the retail, and if that starts to widen even further than it already is at the same time that the excise has been announced, then we've got real problems. We want to see and are fighting for meaningful relief at the Bowser. The reality is that's only ever going to come once we start to see significant increases in production levels globally of oil. So that means that the US and OPEC need to work together to increase supply, and they should have been doing this now for the last year, to increase supply to meet demand that has been increasing since the world's economy started to open up off the back of COVID, and also to counter for the fact that Russia invaded Ukraine, and Russia, of course, being one of the world's largest oil producers, now has some degree of sanctions on it. And so that needs to be countered with a global solution. And only then will we start to see the sort of meaningful relief that we really need in Australia.
Exactly. Thanks for joining us, Peter. I appreciate it. Peter Khoury there from the NRMA.